My sort of approach is a bit of like, no, I'm done. I can't be arsed with that.
Yeah.
You know, but
I think I'm starting to adopt your way as well, because I think there is a certain point where you have to just kind of be like, okay, if people aren't going to step forward to that, then you can't really do much about it.
I remember in Forever Living World, somebody, I don't know if someone said it to me or if it was a book or whatever, maybe a podcast. It was a bit pre-podcast days, wasn't it? They said on an aeroplane, if the plane's crashing, you have to put your own life jacket on before you put on like your child's or help anyone else or whatever. Even in that sense of people who have children and like would look after their child, like you have to take care of yourself first. And if you don't, then how can you take care of anyone else? And I think that's kind of been my process of thought. If I'm not okay, then I can't help other people. If they're hindering my mental state or like my energy, I think it's all about energy, not the mental state. It's more energy. Like if I'm drained or I'm putting too much energy into something that's not right, I'll just cut it off.
I think you've always been very good with your boundaries in regards to that.
That's good to know, because some boundaries, they're really being tested.
Thinking about what you're saying, I think people who don't really have that growth mindset ability, I guess, and this is me just speculating, but tend to be quite used to kind of giving, because I think there tends to be more of an emptiness or a void that is more difficult to fill, especially if you're suppressing things and not managing or kind of divulging into those things to get out of it. I reckon that people tend to then kind of give and then feel a little bit more insecure because they're not giving to themselves.
Okay.
And I think especially in like those people who don't have that growth mindset, it's more natural to give to somebody else than it is to give to yourself. I think that's one thing that I've noticed.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, don't they? It's just easy to forget what your needs are.
Yeah.
And just give. And then it's almost like self-pleasing because you're doing right by someone else. So you get that.
Yeah.
But you're not actually taking care of yourself.
Yeah, you're not dealing with all that stuff. It's kind of like putting a big Band-Aid on it and stuff.
It's going to come out.
Yeah.
It's going to come out.
And I think it's a scary thing as well. Like, I think through my personal growth journey, like it gets so bad before it gets any better.
Yeah.
It really does. And I think most people tend to be, again, I'm speculating because I don't know, but I think most people tend to most people tend to, I lost my point now. Most people tend to avoid that and just kind of try and pretend everything's okay.
Yeah.
Find ways to escape it.
Yeah,
really.
Of course. And like fake it till you make it sort of thing. Yeah. Like everyone puts on. That's why they say, isn't it? What's that saying where like the loudest person in the room is like the most insecure or something like that, isn't it?
For that.
Well, I've seen a few loud moments, but I think as well, like a perception people get is like, oh, they're like that all the time. But like when you're really friends with someone, you know that they're not like that all the time. You like we said, you see the highs and the lows. Like there's other people in my life that are the class clown. And you're like, they're not always the class clown. You can have the deep, meaningful conversations. You can have but what's really, why are you annoyed? Like what's going on? Why are you being extra?
It's usually a facade. It definitely is.
100%.
I saw a really good advert actually about that, and it was these two guys and they were sitting at a football match, and you saw one day they were both sitting there, the next day and the same guy was being really loud and out there and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then one of the final days, his friend who was quite quiet wasn't there or was it the other way round? I think
I know what you mean. I've seen similar.
Because actually, even though it usually...
it's the most obvious one that's struggling. It's not always.
That's exactly it. It's not always the most obvious answer.
Yeah.
And I think that ties into kind of that growth mindset. If you're able to kind of look outside of that box and look at things in a different way, then, it does start to become clearer, I think.
Yeah. I think for me as well, like... obviously it's everyone's mental health and everyone has their own struggles with it, but I do really think like men struggle so much more, because what we're talking about, like I know you just said you feel the same, where you're the bubbliest person in the room and you've had your own insecurities, but a lot of men are like that. Like they're getting up every day, they're just going to work, getting on with it, and there's no real like talk for
no outlet really, isn't there?
Like there's no one to really talk about that. And I think for me that's been a long time coming, where people talk about that. And
because you've always been quite aware of that. I remember at the Cricketers you did your Movember, didn't you?
Yeah.
What did you do, Lucy?
Yeah, drawn a moustache for November, every single day of November.
For the whole month.
Yeah, I think boys can do it. Why can't I?
Yeah,
like,
it's good.
Yeah, I got in FHM for that.
Yeah,
so,
you did, didn't you?
Yeah, like not in a bikini or underwear or anything. But yeah, so that's my little moment. Because it's like, it's about being equal, I think, men and women, but I think it's also about, I don't know, it's going to be a big topic if like you really go into it, but like domestic violence, it's not always women, it's not always, like, do you know what I mean? And I just think that gets overlooked and overshadowed a lot.
It's so true, because I think there is this air of men have to just get on with it. They just get on with it, or like they do get a lot of stick for a lot of stuff and don't really have as much of a voice in certain cases.
100%. So I think, especially with the whole like being extrovert and over the top and stuff like that, that's a lot more with men than women sometimes, and they're hiding more than they're letting on.
Because also I think when it comes to men, there tends to be kind of like that competition factor of like, or the alpha kind of like, well, who's gonna kind of have one up on the other person type thing.
100%.
And actually like thinking about the construction world and just that like place for men, it must be really, really difficult. I mean, I grew up with 4 brothers, so it's like I feel like they were probably still like chill on me, but like I feel like I got a snippet of what that's like. And it's constant like taunting or like what is it called, hazing type thing, and then there's that whole well, if you show any kind of emotion to that, then you're not a man. You're weak. What is that, girl pants? What are you doing,
mate? And then you get treated differently because you're the girl of the family to the boy of the family. Again, that
is so true, which I've actually just started to realise this. You get like coddled, or you get kind of like overrun. I feel like having a voice as a female is a little bit more difficult. Well, actually, that's two like the same points, isn't it?
Yeah. It's hard because women are now having more of a voice, but then are men having less of a voice because women are having more of a voice, and then they just got to get on with it? I don't know.
Maybe it's not even like a man-woman thing. Maybe it's just we're all people. Everyone just needs to be aware that other people are people and we all have the same feelings. I think it's quite difficult. Everyone's feelings are just as valid as each other. And true that certain people can have gone through different things in their lives that you might deem as worse, which I think is subjective, although sometimes, you know, like, okay, that is obviously
worse, but to the person.
If you have one person who's kind of had, you know, been on a really rocky road and had all these negative, bad things happen to them, be the person who hasn't as much, their feelings are still, that's all they know, because that's the whole capacity of what they know.
So their feelings are still valid.
And it's still exactly the same. And I don't know if that's kind of noted or noticed as much. It's in some cases I do think it's a bit of like a competition. Oh, well, I had this, or this happened to me, or this happened to me.
Or that's nothing, this has happened to me, this is worse. But I do think like however you've made someone feel, like it's whether you think it's right or wrong and been like, oh, it weren't that bad, she's just overreacting, it's valid because that's how they felt, that's what they felt. So whether you meant it or think they're overreacting or whatever, you know, like it's how you made them feel.
That is their world. That's what they've experienced.
You can't argue that.
No, that takes me back to think about
well, we weren't going to name drop.
I will edit that out.
We go beep.
Yeah. But that does make me think about that.
Yeah.
Because like he obviously thought that situation and looked at it. I'm looking at it a different situation.
Yeah.
But then it's almost like we're both there as on two panes of glasses, just looking at each other thinking that, well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Everyone has two sides of the story.
Mm.